Hi, Fitness Gem here. Welcome back to another video. Let's get started. We're going to be meal prepping. This is what I cook every single week in order to remain fit and to gain muscle mass. So right here, we're just getting the stove started up. So you're going to need 3 big trays, and then you're going to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're going to start cutting up our asparagus. What I like to do is I like to use these rubber bands to help me out cut them. As you can see, the rubber bands are still on when I cut them. So when I cut this full piece right here, it'll all be connected to the rubber band, so I don't need to deal with all of the pieces of asparagus spilling everywhere like they just did. But with those rubber bands, you can hold them together and you don't need to worry about them spilling everywhere, and you can just throw them right in the trash. We're cutting up 4 bundles of asparagus. It seems like a lot, but we're gonna be doing it for the entire week, and it's gonna be in 2 meals per day. So it's just enough. We're just making a bunch of bundles now. We're getting it all up into this plastic bag right here, and then we'll be dumping olive oil into the bag as well. Dumping in this olive oil is basically just gonna prevent it from sticking to the pan. So we're closing it up right here. We'll splash a little bit more in there, and then we'll just close up the bag, and then we'll just shake it up a little bit to mix it up and get every single piece of asparagus all oiled up and ready to go. So for the asparagus, you're probably gonna want to dump it onto 2 pans. So here I just dump all of it out, and then once you dump it all out, you can just spread it around evenly, just make it look decently pretty. And then we're gonna add the seasoning to it. I just used vegetable seasoning. Just get a bunch of pinches of it and just pinch it right onto it and just get it all nice and seasoned up and ready to go. And then here I show the exact seasoning that I use. It just says vegetable on it, which is just vegetable seasoning. Now we just cut up the potatoes in half. I bought some mini potatoes, and then you're just gonna get it all into the bag. I purchased 2 bags of these. We're just gonna speed up the process really quick of just me shoveling all these into the bag. More olive oil, just dump it in. Just give it a generous amount, whatever you think is gonna be best. And then we just close that bag up, and then we just shake it, and then we'll be ready to go to put it on the pan next. And then if you're doing this in real time, the oven probably won't be preheated until then. But here's the clip of me just putting it in once it's actually preheated at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you just put it all in the oven and set the timer to 17 minutes. We're putting some Italian seasoning on our chicken. We got a bunch of breasts. We got about 8 to 11 pounds of chicken for the whole week. Get that seasoning on there, and then you can get that olive oil right on there. You want to get a decent amount of it because you don't want it all stick to the grill when you're grilling it. So now we're just gonna get the lid on top, and then we're just gonna shake it up and get it all mixed in and all that fun stuff. And then once you want to grill your chicken, you're gonna want to bring like 2 plates with some big tongs, a knife, and a fork, so you can just cut the chicken up in the grill. So we're turning on the propane now, and then we're just firing it all up on low heat so it can slowly cook so we don't burn the surface of it. So we're just throwing all of that on there with the tongs. 12 chicken breasts that look really yummy, and we're ready to get cooking. So we just close the grill and we wait for it to cook, and bam, it looks really nice and good. It looks really tasty. I can just eat it right off the screen right now. It looks amazing. It smells really good. And then by the time you get the chicken on, the chicken's done. You can probably get the asparagus. That'll probably be done too. Usually they end up finishing around the same time. I think the asparagus actually finishes first in real time, and then the chicken is after. So here we're just getting the asparagus out. It looks nice and green, nice and bright, nice and tasty. And then here we got the potatoes. So we're just gonna get that out of the oven now. Next we're cooking the rice. We're gonna be doing 2 cups of rice, and then you're gonna need 2.5 cups of water. So here I just splash in my first cup, and then here's my second cup, and then the third cup I just fill it up halfway to make 2.5 cups of water. Now we're opening up the peas. Get yourself a little sifter thing. This will save your life. Just pour it right in and get all the water out, shake it up, and then you're like basically ready to go. So we used 2 cans of peas, and then here we're dumping it. We're opening up the second one, and then we're just pouring it in, doing the same thing. I had a little issue there. So yeah, just pour the other one, and then just get it into the vegetable cooker portion, the little vegetable plate in your rice cooker. And then don't grab this lid. I completely cut my finger open, so don't do that. So this rice cooker also cooks veggies right on top. So you can cook your rice, and then it'll steam your veggies as well, which is really nice. So here we are plugging it in, and then we're just gonna flick it open or turn it on, and then we're just filling up our water for our pasta now. I usually just get a huge bowl or a pot, fill it up halfway with water, and then just have it run for a little bit. I usually use the biggest burner to boil the water. And then here we're opening up beans, and we're doing the same strategy we did with the peas. We're just gonna sift out the beans like that. You can see how much water it allows to fall out. There's a lot of water in there, so we get 3 cans of beans into the pan, and then we're just gonna boil up the beans as well. So this clip is dark, but we're just gonna be cooking up the salmon. We're just gonna get our tin foil, we're gonna lay it down on the grill, and then we got about 2.5 pounds of salmon. We should have extra. I don't think we're gonna need 2.5 pounds for the whole week. So you can just make yourself an extra meal of salmon if you want to do 2.5 pounds. But here I'm just putting down the salmon. Notice how I am grabbing the wrapper when I put the salmon down, so I don't get it on my fingers. That's just a little technique, a little hack that I do. So whenever you have free time, whenever everything is just cooking at once, you can always prepare your containers. You're gonna have a lot of them, so get them all ready. I think I have 12 right here. This is gonna be our chicken meals. So here I'm just cooking up the chicken right now, or I'm chopping it up. I'm not cooking it, I already did that. I'm just chopping the chicken up now, and then we're just gonna be putting them in the bowls evenly. If you wanna measure it out and make it exact, do so, but I don't. Dumping the pasta in because the water's pretty boiled up. And then once you throw your chicken in, your asparagus and your potatoes, it's gonna look a little bit like this, but I still got to put some asparagus in. So that's what the meal's going to look like once you're finished. You got chicken, potatoes, and asparagus in each meal, which is going to be really tasty, really delicious, really colorful. There's just another photo of it. That's 8 of them. And then we're going to get started on the bowl, the really good meal. This is definitely my favorite meal. This is the final meal of the night when you're eating all of the food. So we're just going to start out with beans. We're just going to give a serving into each one. Serving of black beans, and then usually the peas finish at around the same time that the beans do. There's really no other way to get the peas in unless you have a really big spoon, but I just pour it in like this and just kind of eyeball it and try to make it as even as possible. When you're doing this, make sure that you get a couple dry paper towels underneath so water doesn't drip through. Now for the rice, this is about a serving and a half to 2 servings of white rice, and then we're just pouring it in. I got this spoon with the rice cooker, and then the salmon's usually done at around this time, so let's take a look at it. It looks really nice. It looks really tasty. You can usually tell when it's done by the white stuff on it, the fats, and then we just get 4 meals for the salmon, so technically it's usually a half pound of salmon a day, and then an extra half pound remaining. So that would be 2 pounds a week of salmon. So we're just getting it in the containers now. And then once you get your meals ready, make sure you put the lid on sideways so it doesn't get all steamy inside of your container. Now here we're just testing out the pasta. What you do is you just get some cold water on just one little piece of pasta and just take a bite out of it, and it'll tell you if it's done or not. And then obviously the worst part about this is the cleaning part, which will take you forever, especially if you just let the sink fill up completely. And then by the time we're done cleaning the sink, the pasta finished. So we're going to dump all of that out into a little sifter. Make sure you have some gloves on when you're doing it because the pot's going to be really hot. And then just kind of mix it around and get some cold water on it to cool it down. And then make sure that you get a lot of the water out. So we're going to be doing about 1 serving for each meal. So here we got 1 serving for 4 meals. So that's just going to be a total of 4 servings for the entire week. And then I usually always finish off with the ground beef or turkey. In this clip, I'm doing ground turkey. And then usually I get 4 packages of it. to last me the whole week. We get a lot of meat in our bowl. So usually I just get 2 big pans and then I put 2 blocks of it on there. And then I turn both of the burners on and then I just start cutting it up immediately. And then, this can be a little painful on the hand, just cooking it with a knife and just chopping it up. But it'll be worth it. It's going to be delicious and you're going to love this meal. This is definitely the best meal out of all the other ones. It tastes amazing. It's a bunch of flavors in one. You can either do ground turkey or ground beef, either or. It still tastes amazing. You're still going to love the flavor of it. So, and then here's what the ground beef is going to look like once it's halfway cooked. And then the grease you really don't want to dump down your sink because it can clog up your sink. So what I like to do is get a spoon and tilt the pan sideways and then just dump it into one of the extra cans. And then here's what the meal is going to look like once you're complete. You can also throw in half an avocado, and it'll taste even better. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you stay tuned for next week. I'll be posting a lot of fitness content, a lot of dieting content.